quirky just as much as the next guy. And you certainly sign up for quirky when you sign up for a French car. Today, we're driving the DS5. You might think, isn't that a Citroen? Well, yes, it was a Citroen, but Citroen has decided to separate the DS brand as their luxury flagship sort of set of cars and distance that from the Citroen name. So there's no Citroen badges on this car, it's just DS. This vehicle is a 2-litre diesel, and as with most diesel engines, doesn't put out a whole bunch of brake horsepower. In fact, it's only 133 kilowatts. But what it does put out is 400 newton meters of torque. And the thing about the diesel is it happens really early on in the party. Look, it's not the quickest car away from the traffic lights, but that torque is so pronounced that once you're up and running, in-gear acceleration is very quick, very brisk. It hangs on to a higher gear, 5th or 6th, where other cars might have to drop down to 4th to get up certain hills or to pick up speed. So it can be a very agreeable partner. I admire the French. I like their baked products. Their wines and cheeses are really nice. Their cars can be a little challenging in some of their characteristics. Some of the features of this car I just really don't get. For instance, the cup holders. What they've done is they've not used the central, conventional, intuitive place for a cup holder. They've used the doors. That may not seem like too big a deal, apart from the fact you have to reach forward and engage it down there instead of just in here. But what it does mean is that if you've still got coffee in your coffee cup, even with the lid on, and you shut the door, the coffee spills out. And I did that exactly this morning with my hot chocolate. Right now we're sitting on one of our famous motorway on-ramps, so we are start, stop as we eventually edge onto the motorway. And the car, if I stop, will stop. And when it's time to move forward another 1.5 meters, I take my foot off the brake a little bit, and away we go again. Now if I want to turn that function off, the start-stop function, I have to go into the drive menu of the trip computer thing here, go to options, and go to start, stop, and switch echo start, stop off. It's not easy. It's not one of these little toggle buttons they've got so beautifully arrayed down here or arrayed up here in this Airbus A380 sort of cockpit feel. I wish they'd made it easier to disable. Quiet. There's not much wind noise, there's not much tyre noise, the engine drivetrain noise is quite muted at speed, so it's a very comfortable place to spend some time, except it's not particularly comfortable. The seats aren't that supportive despite their very groovy watch strap leather look, and I've got adjustable thigh support here, I've got adjustable backrest, rake, and I've got even a massaging seat function here, which makes you feel like you're sitting on Santa's knee, because it kind of, the seat breathes in and breathes out and breathes in and breathes out, and it's a little bit worrying actually. But despite that, I still felt that I hadn't got the under thigh support and the spreading of the load, I guess you'd say, across these seats to make it a really comfortable seating position. But from the rest of the car's performance during my 300 or 400 kilometer round trip yesterday, cannot complain at all. You do sit very high. I mean, the whole car is a high riding sort of vehicle, and within the car the seats are also positioned pretty high up. So that could easily have led to a feeling of, seasickness in corners. But it's not the case at all. The car corners very flatly. And I think the weakness, if anything, on the DS is the fact that its ride quality doesn't really deliver to the image that the DS brand and the Citroen brand suggests it would. On a long trip like I did yesterday, it was fine. The car was actually a really nice place to spend time in. But those occasional bits of broken tarmac or potholed roads really upset it. I would prefer the car just floated across those much more sublimely than this one does. But as a general way of carrying yourself around town or around the country, it's actually proven a pretty nice companion. At $64,995, this car is sitting right in the juicy fat zone of a lot of competition. So why would you buy a French car compared to the German cars? I keep coming up with that word quirky. I'm trying to think of another word, but there really is no other word to describe this. It's quirky, it's unfamiliar, it's unique, it's sometimes counterintuitive, but it's charming, and I really have warmed to it. I felt that I would encounter a car that was just frustratingly different for the sake of being different. And look, there are elements of this car that are like that. The cup holder being in the leading edge of the door, waiting to spill your coffee as soon as you open and shut that door. That's just naff, frankly. These buttons up here, they look cool, but it's bloody hard to work out what they all do, and unless you spend a week with the handbook or have little bits of coloured post-it labels on there colour-coded to what they do, it's a voyage of discovery. I didn't expect that the car would really sort of sit well with me because of those sort of frustrations, but it does. It actually, I really like the car. I really like it. Like uniqueness and that just sheer non-conformity, the DS5 is probably the best car for you.